My body cam is a way to kind of put things in perspective. In my mind, my brain is just manipulated in so many ways that, and the obviousness of how things are orchestrated is it's just obvious. You see what they do to try to make you accept this manipulation. Now I understand what this is about. I know that this is a program where governmental entities, of course tied to the DoD and the intelligence community, are using human subjects. And the reason why they're using human subjects is because they're developing technology and weapons that are really been ongoing for a long time in regard of manipulation of not only the mind but also the body. Organs are being destroyed, muscles are being destroyed, joints are being destroyed, and the mind is just being manipulated. We're truly guinea pigs. And as you can see in this video, it's basically my body cam. I make sure that these people involved in this don't live this false reality. And what I mean by this is, so as a target individual, we have this technology applied onto us. This technology does so much to us. For example, right now speaking is a struggle. I'm struggling speaking. I can feel my heartbeat just going hard and feeling a little pain. This is not because anything naturally is happening to me. It's because they're doing things to my body. Speaking is tough because they're making it hard for me to function, and the ability to speak is getting harder and harder. I think there'll be a time when I will not be able to speak. This is why I make so many videos. This is why I talk about everything that's happening to me now before I can't. And then what else is happening is, as you can see in this video, there's some random people you saw. You saw one when I got in this apartment, which is my building. You see a person all the way there. She's looking at her phone. And then when I'm waiting in front of the elevator, there's this person who just passed by, and she just she wants to make noise campaign, and she's like stomping. I think it's like one of the next door perp. I'm not sure. Initially, I was looking down. I thought it was like a young little guy, but all along it was some female. I think it's just the next door neighbor. I'm not too sure, but it's just some kind of like sketchy looking individual, and so it's funny. Right now they try to make me think this person is appealing. Is not. She's really sketchy and kind of is like. It's somebody that is sketchy on another level, not another level, but like somebody from like the streets or some sort like that. At least that's what she portrays herself to look like. You look like one of this weird like person that you just. Anyways, she was trying to get my attention, so she was like stamping on the floor and then going, trying to get my attention. I'm like, I ignore it because I have my camera there, and the camera is supposed to capture everything. And then I'm waiting at the elevator, and you see the elevator opens, and there's just somebody right in front of me. And matter of fact, I'm looking down. I'm not even looking up. I'm looking down, looking at my phone. I'm staring at my phone. I'm looking down. I know in the past what they've been doing is this disturbing manipulations that is aimed toward children. So as target individual, one thing they like to do to us is to depattern us. Apparently, it seems like it's a part of the ability to manipulate us. They depattern us by forcing us to get these nasty fucking reactions, excuse my language, toward children. That is supposed to make us, disturb us. It's psychological torture, to be honest. It is tormenting because you're no longer normal. Like, you're no longer yourself. So every time there's a child, they can control your mind to have any reactions toward children. And it's been the most disturbing things they do in regard to psychological torture. Meaning that it's just been disturbing. And the reason why they do that is to depattern you. And it does break your self-image because you no longer see yourself the same way when you experience these things. Well, I see myself even a better way now because I know why they're doing this. I'm seeing that the things they do. I see the things they do as what they do. I don't identify with it, but I still experience it because they make me experience whatever they want me to experience. And I've accepted that. I've accepted this is what these governmental entities are doing to us target individuals to break us down. And it's all part of this system and the process of breaking you down. This is a process of just just manipulating you and breaking you down. It's part of this whole process that a lot of target individuals have been experiencing. And this process of breaking you down is literally conditioning you too, because this is non-stop. They make you have sexual thoughts and then implant children, or start making you imagine sexual thoughts make you imagine sexual thoughts with children. Like, it's non-stop. It's like a conditioning type of way of breaking you down. And then they're like, no, now it's you. It's nasty. Now, if anything, is like, now I feel like a saint. Because the people involved in this are so nasty. As you're gonna see here, I'm looking down. I don't even want to look at what's in the elevator, because usually what happens is when they open the elevator, there's always gonna be a child. It seems like that's what they always do. I look away, but I have my camera on, and I'm looking down. And even by looking down, I can see from the knee down of this person in pink. I don't know, like, I thought she was a much younger person. I thought it was like a little kid. I thought it was maybe like a 10, 12-year-old kid. But it looks more like she's like a teenage kid. So, I mean, it's nasty, but it's not as nasty as when they do that to the babies. I was surprised when I saw the videos, because to me, like, I'm not gonna look at this person. I'm looking down. So when I'm making this video, I'm like, oh, actually, it's an older kid. If anything, it's like a teenager or something like that. I thought it was like a baby. But you see how she comes out and goes back in? This is the elevator that came from, like, upstairs. So I'm like, yo, she just wanted to get some my attention. I don't even look. I just take the stairs. You can see me. I'm like, whatever. I'm just taking straight the stairs. I'm taking the stairs to the whatever floor, to the 10th floor. I don't care if they mess my bones. I was like, I'm not even gonna let you live. I'm gonna make it obvious that this thing is orchestrated. You want this nastiness. And the sad part is, I think there's a mother that looks like her mother that's looking behind her. So you understand, even mothers are involved in this. It's so nasty. These people have sold their soul to pedophiles. Matter of fact, while I was listening to, as this person like come stomping and try to make noise campaign, I was listening to the issue of pedophilia in those entities regarding the DOD. It is so nasty. It is so foul. But that's what they do. They've been tormenting target individuals in so many disturbing ways. But, you know, you gotta be strong. You gotta be strong and see this journey as a target individual as dignified for you. Look at these people. This kid, this teenager, she has her hair done and everything else. I'm like, oh my gosh, don't tell me they even prep her to go downstairs and come back. I'm sure her mother probably even helped. So that when I look at her, they can do these nasty things. Matter of fact, when I make the videos now, they try to do these things while I make this video. But in real time, I was looking down. I don't even know what she looked like. I was surprised. I thought it was actually a younger kid than that. She looked like a teenager, maybe 16 or so. But like looked like a typical teen. But when I was looking down and I saw like this little legs coming toward me, I was like, that's like a 12-year-old. That's why I took the stairs immediately. It's nasty. So pathetic. But that's what the things they do. But at the end of the day, you just gotta be strong. You gotta see things for what they are. I've been validated. They do this pedophilia type of torture. I've been validated that they do these nasty reactions. Right now, as I'm speaking, I can feel my brain being harmed and doing things to my brain. It's getting very hard to function. I feel like soon they'll probably make me have like a seizure or a stroke, something like that. But the reason why I'm so calm when I speak about these horrible things that are going to happen to me is because I see this thing as some dignified experience. because these bottom feeders are the trash. The empowerment they get in this involvement is, I'm sure, intoxicating. Feeling special like that, when in the real life, in reality, life, who knows what's going on with them. But when they do this thing to me, they can feel special. They feel like they're gods, basically, because these technologies, this program is super advanced and sophisticated. Can you imagine being involved in a program where you can be able to manipulate people? You have the power to destroy somebody's life or participate in their destruction, but not in a regular way. In almost a science fictional way, in the sense that they destroy my organs. My health is like one day they make me feel really sick, or make me feel like oh my gosh, my organs are about to fail. Then shortly after, I feel better. So it's like they make me sick and then make me feel better after making me sick. It's like they destroy my organs and kind of fixing it a little bit, then going back to, it's basically you are a guinea pig. Then the ability to control your thoughts in these ways, and not only that, the ability to just, because in this program everything in your life is orchestrated. It's like they create a path of whatever misery you're going to go through, right? And it's part of this program. It's part of this predictive program that manipulates everything around you and follows and tweaks around this manipulation. It's all about the ability of controlling and manipulating, and they change things around to adjust it in a better way. What they're analyzing, it seems like, is analyzing the destructive ways of the destructive experience you can have. What torments him or her better, doing this or that? Okay, we do this. It's like that's the kind of things they do. This is what what they're analyzing. What is more harmful? Is that going too far? It's like this is what it seems it's all about, and the whole community is involved. And they use these childlike individuals to also agitate you. So the technology that I've heard commonly used, which I can relate to, is synthetic telepathy and V2K. And of course the direct energy weapons. All of this kind of weapons is something that the DoD have been working on, DARPA. And when it comes to V2K, you hear the voices projected onto your brain. The voices are voices of the individuals who are contracted to do these things to you. So you see these people around. They're not DoD, they are not CIA, but they are contracted by those DoD entities. And whatever incentives is provided to them, they have their part to create that ecosystem of just annoyance, tormenting, and try to make you believe, make you subscribe to whatever is whatever you get, whatever you're experiencing, the manipulations that you're experiencing. So they're supposed to be like, oh, we saw that. Oh, and then, when I came in earlier, you see that person all the way in the corner, she's looking at her phone, like she's analyzing what's happening on her phone. Like she's going through her. And then they're supposed to be like, oh, you see, I just saw what you just experienced, because they want you to believe what you experience is organically happening to you. Nobody's manipulating you. Look at me, look at my phone. And so, like this teenage kid, which I thought was actually a very much younger kid, I thought it was like a preteen kid. Whatever reaction I was supposed to react in real time, they would be like, oh, I see, we proved that, we saw that. But because I didn't even look at her, what they did, they still gave me some stimulation. So nasty. They still gave me some stimulation when I saw her from her knee down. It was so nasty. They do that all the time. It's so disturbing. And that makes me not even want to look at any child, because then these people, this trash that you see in these videos, are involved in a program where this program use test subjects, human subjects, and manipulate these test subjects, which in this case is me, to experience these disturbing things for the purpose of breaking you down. And they tweak things around They tweak these reactions in order for you to feel more, to make it feel more organic or whatever. But that's what they do. And then they're supposed to make you accept these things. Listen, I know who I am. I know my imperfections. And this is not that. What they're doing is they manipulate me to look at children the way I would look at women. Of course, the younger is the worst. The older is nasty. It's bad, but it's not as bad as when it's like the babies. Matter of fact, right now when I was making this video, they tried to make me think of this kid's breast. What? She has a whole sweater on. Do you understand how like your brain is just that manipulated? And then every time they try to make you accept these things, they tell you, oh, they're gonna knock you out, they're gonna torture you, they're gonna do this and that. I'm expecting torture. Because they want you to be acceptive of this manipulation, and they're going to torture you into accepting this, at least for me, into subscribing and identifying with this. These people have been so embarrassed by reality. These people do these horrible things to men, women, and children all around the world. The entities that run these programs have problem with pedophilia. There's truly an issue with pedophilia in these agencies. A true, real problem. I've been validated that the manipulations, the perception manipulation have been done onto others. I've been validated they torture children. Matter of fact, when I go into this elevator, I heard somebody say abuse or something. What she was trying to say is try to bring up what I did when I was in middle school. And the stupid thing I did to myself, which they want to exaggerate. But she knows that I know that in this program, that she's in, the reason why she's all dressed up, they torture children, even sexually. They're suffocating kids. Every time I bring that up, it's like, oh, they're going to rape you, they're going to rape you. I'd rather get raped than be involved in a program where you're going to hear what they do to women and children. And then they manipulate men and women to have these perceptions and reactions toward children. And then you have these perps like them, this trash, who then try to counter this reality. After the humiliation that these people have so much pedophilia issue, you're going to hear the ranking they got from the Child Protective Service. And I'm talking about the DOD network. You're going to hear that this pedophilia type of torture has been mentioned by others. Matter of fact, this terminology you're going to hear said by others who are target individuals. You're going to hear that this nastiness from babies to teenagers forcing to get stimulations and reactions have been experienced by other target individual. You're going to hear what they do to women, and you're going to hear the abuses these children experience when they're targeted by this trash. Target individual, to never accept or identify with these manipulations and see these bottom feeders for what they are. Bottom feeders who sold their soul to whatever entities, these entities that are filled with pedophiles and do horrible things to even children as young as 3 years old and 3 weeks old. They are low lives. If you're a parent and you have your child participate in that, what kind of parent does it make you? But it's okay. The incentives is those. I made it my purpose. You see me walking the stairs. I was like, no, you guys are bottom feeders of trash. I'm not even going. I'm going to see you. I'd rather walk all these stairs than let you live your fantasy. You low life trash who have sold your soul to pedophiles. And I will never identify with these nasty pedophilia things that you do to people. And on top of that, I know what you've done to children. You torture them. What you do, sorry, not I use the past tense. What you do to children today, harming children in ways that you can't even understand. And then they are here, no, you pay for what you did when you're in middle school. It's trash. And they use these childlike individuals who basically are supposed to make you believe that this is anything but this massive government running this program. Please listen to this.
K, or voice to skull. This involves the projection of voices, noises, and music directly into my mind to communicate with me in real time and at the speed of thought. And it also includes the manipulation of thoughts, emotions, and perceptions in the person's mind. Additionally, the targeting is all highly perverted and sexual, as well as just
It's somebody trying to end my life. It's somebody trying to end who I am as a person. It's somebody trying to take over my mind, putting thoughts of pedophilia. This disgusting things. You saw where I was going with that first word. Disgusting things that I don't even want to talk about because it makes me sick. I don't even like those words in my mind. But it is what it is. So I have no choice now but to acknowledge that there are people in my surroundings or whatever they're doing. I don't know how they do it. I don't care. I don't know if it's through weapons. I don't know.
what is referred to as malodorants. This is the alteration of the smell sensation so that I am often made to smell various things, including smoke, burning, dirty diaper, or baby powder, which they sometimes combine with the pedophilia type of torture, including the threat of planted dreams and videos in my
see every night. Then I thought how that could happen, but then I told them that they would never take my will, and since we all know how the psychopaths groups work with what the TI says or does, then they started during the nights to run some kind of beam where suddenly I've been wakened up at 3 o'clock in the mornings and some kind of voice comes and say phrases, sound incomprehensible, and some other times can actually catch what is saying, ITS not my voice, a different voice, and I realized that they are trying to program for me to take it in a way that I won't notice a possible change in my behavior. Of course this is not new, because one main thing this program is out there, is called behavior modification for the undesirable, and that's one of the excuses this groups give for the neighbor TO join, deception. I learned to talk back, in my mind, during the process when I was awakened, and I would say demeaning things, that I cannot repeat it in this blog, you know what I mean. Since they had violated me for so long, I decided to aggravate them with words in my mind. I can hear my own voice. I told them I'm going to make you pay for all of the years of torture that I've taken, and all you are going to hear is aggravation. For every single second of my privacy that you have taken away. From me and my family. Then said this, the slaves began a program of perversion. First was with my dog. I am very playful with my pet, and suddenly one day that I was petting him I felt strange, in the sense of the word. I thought, this is strange, and then afterwards that strange sensation continued. Then in that moment I realized that was impost, so I thought, look at this losers, don't know how to put me down, and they are doing this. So I told them that I know what you are trying to do, and I started laughing, and then I said again out loud, you'll never take my will, ASS, so just to show them that I meant what I said, I kept playing with my dog, and even though that attacks continue, I don't let them get me. Today they continue with the programming of perversion, but this time they are aiming in the use of people, better said young people, also children and homosexuals. When I aggravated them I usually called demeaning names, and one of them is aggravated the slaves, and since they love to use children for the torture and stalking, street theater etc. Especially teenagers for the stalking at close range with an attitude, they are using them during my sleep in the perversion program, and so you can imagine what the slaves of torture are pretending to do to me. In the last days, as today September 9th, 07, anything I do, either watching TV or reading of whatever I'm doing, they brush me sort of say, I feel like I'm aroused all day and I feel the palpitations in my genitals, for what I'm thinking, and since the attack comes so quickly, I realized my programming has been set on auto, in their central computers, no handlers could do something like this that quick. What make me realized, the slaves are desperate to get me. Unfortunately for them they are facing a strong wall where no matter how much their computers EAP me, I know I'm not changing. As I said, I feel like they've been set up a beam where I feel constantly stimulated. I'm talking sexually, like a heat in my genitalia.
Okay, so you heard the obvious validation that this is a tactic utilized to torment us. As a matter of fact, when they interview 1,000 of target individual, it's obvious that pedophilia is a torture that they utilize. Matter of fact, listen to this.
Is a common breakdown tactic of belief systems and the human will. In no-touch torture, the techniques are more psychologically specialized for each target. Most common examples include homosexual targets that are forced with voices that are derogatory to their lifestyle and similar mental images. Almost all targets are forced to view child pornography in their minds, and vice versa.
So you hear that this is a tactic. I mean, the way they just manipulate our brain is just so nasty. And they, I'm gonna bring some more videos of like me going to the laundromat and seeing parents having their children there and trying to do the same thing. And here, matter of fact, this is so nasty, but it's the way they just kind of rewire my brain, try to make me think of that in a sexual way, and even hearing it, it's just so nasty. It's so nasty. But that's what they do. They are nasty low life, just nasty bottom feeders that train the brain to think of these kids in a sexual way, meaning finding them to get them to make me find them in an appealing way that is sexual. It's so disturbing. And then try to make you accept this low life sold their soul to pedophiles. Whatever death is going to come to them, it's going to come in a way that is going to be special. For me, because of the humiliation you just heard, the validation you just heard, I expect the worse. Because it's obviously clear that they do this pedophilia type of torture. It's obvious. It's obviously clear that they try to make you be somebody you're not. And then send these cowards and lowlifes that you see. One might even call them losers in the sense that, like, this is people who love this thing, because in this program, we target individuals who really don't have any chances. We truly don't. We don't. And I'm not trying to demoralize anybody, but we are going against governmental entities that are utilizing our bodies, our brain, as test subjects. So you have these people who in their life, who knows what's going on? If they're depressed, if they were happy, but once they're involved in this program, they find this empowerment that is intoxicating. Because now you can control and manipulate, or involve in that, manipulates a human brain and body. Well, you can't even control your own life. So this is one start. But something else is to hear the testimonials is just validating, but to hear the issues that's ongoing in these DOD entities is so disturbing. First of all, listen to this person called Robin Duncan talking about target individual and how, based on his interview and surveying a bunch of them, like this psyops of creating this like false reality that they're this and that, anything but this massive government that is doing these things to us. Listen to that.
8 billion brains on the planet, potentially. Read them. Brains underwater.
How do you explain this is happening to Len? How do you rationalize?
Him in private. Hold on.
Okay, yeah.
Can I talk? Here's how I do my studies, and I wanted to find the commonalities, but I have to throw away the ones I'm uncertain about that are true targets. Maybe there's natural schizophrenia, there's a whole bunch of chemical imbalances,
right,
etc.
Right.
These weapons can actually induce and mimic all those diseases and effects. But the conversations, the scripts they're called, are always the same. I've heard them all. So they'll say, we're the Russian government, we're the Chinese government, we're evil aliens, we're Satan's, satanic ritual abuse. And I've heard all the stories. One guy believed it was some 14-year-old kid with an Xbox that lived next door. The trickery really is that great when you're under hypnosis that people will believe something other than a massive government could do this.
So you hear that based on this survey, they have the same scripts of, disorienting you and try to make you believe that it's something else but this massive government that's obviously doing this. But this massive government he's mentioning is obviously addressing the DOD and obviously the intelligence community in regard of CIA. Now listen to the DOD and the issue that's been ongoing in this Department of Defense issues. Listen to it.
under investigation for links to the proliferation of graphic material. Called Project Flickr, some 5,000 individuals have been identified as having subscriptions to child porn sites, including many DoD-affiliated persons. So this ongoing national investigation has now prompted the House to introduce a bipartisan bill that would help the DoD stop the use of its network to, quote, possess, procure, or produce child pornography. Joining us to discuss this, investigative journalist Ben Swan. So Ben, the Pentagon already takes measures to limit worker access to stuff like porn by rolling out what they call the Personal Electronic Device PED policy, where workers have to drop off their phones and lockers before entering their offices. All their online searches are accessible by security if or when needed. Their Wi-Fi access is monitored in digital security sweeps. So how is this happening?
Well, it's happening because even though there is a certain amount of limitation on access, those who are working in the Department of Defense, clearly it appears to be thousands of individuals in the Department of Defense, are finding ways around this, specifically by using the Department of Defense IP addresses and also apparently peer-to-peer sharing within the department's network. So this study that was done on this issue, and it is pretty horrifying, Manila, to consider this. It shows that the Department of Defense ranked 19th out of almost 3,000 networks in terms of peer-to-peer sharing of child pornography. That is absolutely incredible. This bill attempts to essentially say, look, we're not doing enough to stop it from coming in, but we're also not doing enough in the Department of Defense to go after those individuals.
Exploitation recently endorsed and helped pass key legislation in Congress, the End National Defense and Network Abuse Act. The provision, authored by Senator Brain Schatz, D. High, and co-sponsored by Senator Lisa Murkowski RAK, is included in the annual National Defense Authorization Act and is expected to be signed into law. The End Network Abuse Act would assist the Pentagon in stopping the Department of Defense's DoD illegal use of the government network to view, possess, trade, and even produce child pornography. Millions of child sexual abuse images are being shared across the internet. Over 45 million online photos and videos were reported to tech companies in 2018 alone. The use of child pornography is not limited to the DoD, but data from 2018 revealed the DoD's network ranked 19th out of 2,891 nationwide networks when it came to peer-to-peer trading of child pornography. Child sexual abuse images are flooding the internet and almost no one is fighting back. The DoD is unequipped to deal with the level of abuse coming from their own network devices. A 2006 report from Immigration and Customs Enforcement identified 5,200 Pentagon employees with suspected use of child pornography.
So you hear the issue that's ongoing, and this is also goes to CIA, right? Listen to what was happening in the CIA and this like child porn and disturbing pedophilia issues.
I mean, Kubark manual. And they do good cop, bad cop interrogation called Jeff and Mutt, and they go right through the list, right? Just textbook. So whoever the handlers are on the other side of this synthetic telepathy, they're following the handbook perfectly.
2-year-old and a 6-year-old. He was simply fired. One employee purchased sexually explicit videos of young girls filmed by their mothers. He resigned. One employee estimated that he had viewed up to 1,400 sexually abusive images of children while on agency assignments. Not sure what actions, if any, were taken by him. One contractor arranged for sex with an undercover FBI agent. I think that you mentioned that. Posing as a child, he had his contract revoked. One CIA staffer was charged with child sexual crimes, and the employee was also under investigation for mishandling classified material. But sexual crimes involving children, says BuzzFeed, including the viewing of images of abuse, have been uncovered at other agencies that handle sensitive information. In a November 2009 report, the Department of Defense acknowledged that dozens of Pentagon staff members are
This is like across U.S. intelligence agencies, the DoD. There is an obvious pattern that is pedophilia-centric, and these trusts are truly projecting reality onto us target individual. They live in this distorted reality, and they manipulate us in these disgusting ways. Of course, there's a purpose to this. But while they're doing this, they want to delude themselves into a false reality. The entities that are manipulating us, that are running this program, have a lot of problem with pedophilia. It's just undeniable. The tactics that you heard utilize pedophilia type of torture. And they use this clown that you see here to try to make you believe in all sort of fantasies that they've put together in order for you to accept this false reality. So stay strong, do not subscribe, and understand what's happening to us is we're guinea pigs. They are just mastering the ability of manipulating us. And it's nasty. These losers are trash. They're going to get theirs, but find yourself dignified. It doesn't take much to do what they do. You just gotta be willing to be a bottom feeder. I would die in hell than do the things they do.
I am currently a speech-language pathologist working in private practice with young children. I had a 7-year-old client who has autism, and she was the most significantly affected of all of my clients. I eventually had to tell this client to go to another clinic. And they used her to threaten the most torture in me, as well as their most extreme forms of torture. For several months, she would cry and scream horribly during our therapy sessions, despite having a great day at school. This was highly unusual behavior for her, as she usually behaved very well during her therapy sessions and had been making incredible progress on all of her therapy goals. This was used to threaten extreme torture on me, making me scream and cry, etc. They would make the kids act out the kinds of torture that would later be done on me. For example, they would also sometimes make her bite her hand, threatening to make me bite my hands, as they often do. One day, she had a large, severe bite mark on her arm. She has also grabbed her crotch, saying, "Ow," and this was used to threaten me with severe sexual torture. One day, I also observed her gasping for air a few times in the same way that I do when I am being more severely suffocated. The suffocation had been in a mild state for a while up until this point. Many of their torture methods are cyclical in severity. Right after I saw this child being suffocated, then I began to experience very extreme suffocation all day, every day, for about 2 months straight, and that's also when they made it worse when I eat. Then I also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, "Ow." I observed this at least on 1 or 2 occasions for each of them during their separate sessions. During one session, I observed one of my 3-year-old clients suddenly grab his crotch and lean forward in his chair. Then he made a frightening grimace of severe pain. I asked him what was wrong and if he needed to use the restroom, but he said no to having to use the restroom and was not able to verbalize anything more due to his language delay. He looked puzzled and bewildered.
So you hear what they do to children? So these people involved in the program that manipulates the brain in these disturbing ways, that is ran by entities where pedophilia is a big problem, and torture children in ways that we can't even comprehend. And this is just children. I'm not even bringing up what they do to women. Now, for me, I'm just thankful that I get to see this low life for what they are, regardless of what's going to happen to me. You know, I have neighbors whose job is to break me down into accepting whatever I'm experiencing. From manipulations of perceptions, thoughts, memories, reactions. Their job is to try to make me subscribe and identify with these manipulations. And of course, they think that I'm not going to subscribe to it. I'm not going to identify with the things they make me experience. What they've done to women and children, what they've caused men to do, what have happened, it's things that's going to come to them in one way or another. It doesn't take much. You don't look, when I see them, as you can see in this video, they're regular nobodies. The reason why they can do that to us is because the government is running this program and it's very simplistic. I've seen these neighbors of mine. Sometimes I'm like, man, these people, some of them, I know life is not good to them. I've seen some trash trying to be very like strong in front of me, and me just looking at them a certain way and shaking my head. Saw them losing their balance, not because something is happening to their brain, but because just reality just hit them for a second. That false fierceness they have is just a way to deal with coping with the reality. These people do horrible things to the most vulnerable. They truly sold their soul to pedophiles, and they do horrible things to even babies. Listen to what they do to a 3-week-old.
If interested, I will gladly furnish you with detailed photos of the rashes. Our infant daughter, at 3 weeks old, was diagnosed with Lerner syndrome. This was after a severe rash appeared on her body after a few days of torture. We were told by a couple doctors to take her home and love her and spend the rest of the time we have with her. They told us she would ultimately die from this syndrome. Thank God that Lerner syndrome was not what affected our daughter. Doctors are still dumbfounded by her rash and symptoms. Sadly, we know that her symptoms were effects from the torture this poor innocent 3-week-old baby endured.
So you hear? These cowards are capable of doing that to babies. They are truly coward. I mean, cowardness, like, it's just unbelievable. And for me, it's funny when they try to, like, agitate me, which you might call it trolling. It's like, now we dared, right? And I know how coward they are. I think the daring part about them is they're so cowardly that it's almost daring. This level of cowardness, it's on a level of cowardness that's, you almost have to be daring to be this cowardly. Truly. Because after that, the interaction they have with you via V2K, is the fierceness you hear in their voices is crazy. Children do the same thing. Can you imagine doing the same thing a child is doing and call yourself daring? Now, of course, they do that to agitate me, because the truth is they're very much cowards and they understand that. But I'm so thankful, because the horrible things I'm going to go through, I don't want to go through that. But man, I could be living the life these losers and bottom feeders live. Look at them. It's not hard to do what they do. They chose an easy way, but at this price.